Hello all. In this short video I'm going to share with you how I made some pretty legit looking track stops, anti-kickback stop or guide rail stops, whatever you want to call them, for Bosch and Mafell guide rails. The principle I'm sure could be adapted for Festool pattern rails too with the aid of a spacer. They're quick release, all metal and look quite professional for a 5-minute hack. Most importantly, they should save you a few quid over the branded ones. The Bosch branded ones are the fs-rsp and the Mafell the fs-rsp. Both exactly the same and sell for between £14 and £25 each in the UK. So you're looking at around £30 plus for a pair. Mine, from UK sourced parts, you can make for £5.42 each. Less still if you source from China. So let's have a look at how we go about putting one together. For the plates that grip the guide rail, I'm using M6 sliding T-track nuts. The size it would run in a 19mm mitre gauge track. You'll need 2 for each stop. I bought a pack of 10 from Banggood some time ago and I'll link that and the 5-pack from the UK in the description below. You'll also need a cam lever. I found the best bet for cheap cams is those for bicycle seat post clamps. These again I've had for some time and you can see I've already cut some thread off for one of its previous uses. I'll link ones I think suitable below. Unfortunately mine aren't available anymore. But sourcing your own, be careful to find ones where the cam lever has a short stem. Quite often there's a large section of unthreaded stem which would make them no good for this purpose. With the cam removed from the seat post clamp then, I put on the little concave cam washer. Many of these clamps don't come with these anymore, which isn't an issue as the cam can just do its work against the back face of the T-nut. Thread on the first T-nut, T-section facing away from the cam. Keep threading it onto the blank part of the stem. Don't worry that there's no thread. Once on the blank part, the T-nut should move freely. The second T-nut we'll make an adjustment to by lopping off one of its T-sections. If I show you the stop I've already completed, you can see what I mean. Taking this bit of T-section off minimises the effect of the step when clamping to the guide rail. Before we can remove the T-section, we need to determine which side to take off. To ascertain this, thread on the second T-nut, this time T-section towards the cam, until it sits about 1.5 to 2mm from the opposite nut, with the cam in the open position. Then check it on the rail. If it's a good fit, moving freely when loose and locking down fully when you lift the cam, you can mark the section for removal on the nut. Tighten or loosen half a turn at a time until you get a good fit and lock. Mark the T-section of the outside nut that will sit on the back of the guide rail so you don't lose which side to cut. Then fix it down with a screw to something sacrificial and file, hacksaw or grind it off. If you grind it off like I did here, leave it well alone for about 5 minutes as it will be blisteringly hot. Go and have a cup of tea or something. When it's cool, use a bit of sandpaper to clean up the edges. I'm using 180 grit here. Cleaned up, it's ready to put back on the cam to complete our clamp. That's it, job done. Takes about 5 or 10 minutes to make each one, depending on if you're cutting any thread off the cam or not, and how long you wait for the nut to cool after cutting. Ideal. They move really well on the guide rail, and lock really firm too. Worth saying that these T-nuts, I assume as they're made from a lesser or softer aluminium than the guide rail, aren't marking the guide rails at all, which I assume would be the case with the official stops too. If all you want to do is reduce the risk of kickback when plunge cutting for a sink cutout say, then one stop behind the saw is all you need. 2 are useful for setting the beginning and end of crucial cuts. The stops are just as useful, if not more, for routing as using the circular saw or plunge saws. I used a Bosch FSN OFA router adapter on these rails. For an example here, you'd set your router to its start position, set a stop, set the end position, then set the stop. It's actually for this use I made these. Got a little job that requires it, but couldn't bring myself to pay 30 odd quid for a set. Thankfully, I had all the parts to knock these up, but as they work so well, Thought I'd share with you folks, hopefully saving you a few quid, even if you had to order all the parts in at 11 to 12 quid a pair. Of course, I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments they did the same with a couple of scraps of ply and a wing nut for a halfpenny, and that's awesome. But admit it, mine look better. They also function really well, at least well enough for the immediate job I need them for, and I see no reason why they can't continue to do so well into the future. Either way, hope this cheeky little 5-minute hack is of use to someone out there. As I said, links to bits and bobs below in the description. Please do chime in the comments if you've made something similar or have any questions, and as always, if you've made it this far, thanks for watching.